death hotels in this country.
Oh, wow.
And it's really, you'll see, it's nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And do people really come out in all their finery, or is it sort of a mixed bag?
People handing out jackets and ties across the barrier, or
So
even
people can get in.
even shoes. Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen people.
Huh. Maybe they're lit from behind? No. Oh, well, that's interesting.
LA was more like these kind of like desolate people, kind of desperate people all kind of coming together. It was a real feeling of bonding and a real feeling of community and a real feeling of belonging.
I love living in the city! I love living in the city!
Would it be fair to say that a lot of the interviewees in your film are united by a desire not to become like their own dads?
I think absolutely. I think most of them were, and this surprised us as we interviewed punk rocker after punk rocker after punk rocker, that each one of them was rebelling against their own father in some way, and so the idea of fatherhood never occurred to them. And then when given a child in their arms, all of their emotions about fatherhood welled up, and they really had to examine what fatherhood truly is and what it means to them. And that was an opportunity that we got in this film that was a surprise.
Punk rock, when it started, there weren't so many of us. So when you were driving down the street, if you saw somebody with purple hair, you'd pull over and go, "Hey, what are you into, man?" And it was that instant kinship, which was really cool. It wasn't cool to be a punk rocker. Like, you walked down the street, people yelled at you, they made fun of you, they beat you up, they threw shit at you.
You can't look like you're fitting in to society if you don't want to fit in society.
And what was your impression of their skills as dads? I thought many of them seemed like really good dads.
They are really good dads. I think because they all had such bad experiences and because of their nature, every single one of them, despite their spikes and mohawks, are poets. They're just really beautiful artists. And when given an opportunity for redemption and for healing, they took it, and they took it with all their heart.
I used to get beat up every day for having green hair. And it was a bunch of misfits who all came from the same kind of background, and you felt like you fit in finally. You were like, whoa, where the fuck did this come from? Why didn't I find this last year?
Being in a band, I think, kind of delays adulthood. Is the film also partly a little bit about the dream evaporating, and that they eventually have to, even though they could be 50, to actually eventually become an adult?
Absolutely, and I think given the opportunity that they were given to wait that long and then embrace it in a way where it wasn't that they'd put on a suit and were forced to go to work at the age of 22 and continue to rail against the man. They were given an opportunity to be adolescents by continuing to play in bands, and then when handed a child, that realization of having to take control meant so much more to them. And I think they were able to understand it with a kind of depth that we all hope that we could have had when we were 24 and had to walk into that role of authority and taking care of ourselves. So we really saw it as a coming of middle age, sort of a true coming of age.